with short sales? Who has done short sales before? That's awesome.
Yeah, I actually had some experience with one several years ago.
What was the experience?
It was a property out in Hemet. I actually partnered with another agent to do it. Then I left the organization, so I left like maybe a couple of weeks before it closed. But yeah, I mean, it was just dealing with the holder of the property, and it just took some time, and it was challenging, as I recall.
That's good, man. Well, congrats. So was it hey, what's up, Sophia?
Hi, Edson. How are you?
So who just joined us? Sophia, Valerie, Gabriel. I'm doing pretty good.
I emailed you today some stuff for commercial. Check it out.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Okay, so who else has worked on short sales, guys?
I have.
Anybody?
I have.
How was the experience?
It was very long and sad.
Months.
Sad. Yeah.
Well,
Lots of
we're here
tears.
to talk a little bit about it. I'm gonna try to go as fast as I can. I know we only have an hour.
Mhm.
Hold your thoughts, write your questions down, and then almost at the end we'll have a couple minutes to chat, and then we can you can ask questions and comments, and then we can all try to get some short sales after this. Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So let's see. Okay. So what's a short sale? Well. Hold on, my screen is kind of acting up on me. Give me a sec. There we go. Okay, so what's a short sale? Well, the short sales where the sales price is insufficient to pay the total of all liens and cost of sale, and where the seller does not have sufficient liquid assets to the closing to cure all deficiencies.
Thank you.
So in short, basically, if the seller doesn't have enough money to pay for what they owe, that property becomes a short sale. And if the house doesn't have the equity on it. When do you usually do a short sale? Well, this usually happens when the seller is upside down on their home, and therefore any contract and compensation will be subject to the lender approval. How do you find them? How do you find short sales? Anybody?
Maybe asking who has been delinquent on payments, right? If someone's struggling or debt.
Yeah. But a lot of times, like, a lot of people are not going to tell you that they're struggling. That's one of the things that most of us will kind of keep as a secret, until you're in trouble, right? So, you can always access records from the title company. The title companies will, sometimes give you information on notice of defaults, notice of sales, tax liens, lease pendants. I'm not sure if you guys know what lease pendants is, but lease pendants is when somebody has a judgment or they owe money somewhere else, and those companies put liens on the property, or even if you get a loan outside a business, anything, somebody sues you and they put the house in there for you. Well, then you have to make sure that you review all those lease pendants, because sometimes the short sales may not be worth it all your time. So usually when you're out there searching for this type of properties, and you get a call from one of the sellers, you just got to make sure that you do a little bit more research and see if it's worth it for you to actually go to this appointment or not. A lot of times we get excited, we're like, oh my God, I got a phone call. This is it. I'm going to do my short sale. I'm going to give it a shot. And then, you don't do a little bit of extra homework. This property has other judgments, other liens, and some of them are really not easy to deal with. So just got to make sure you also check on those, okay? But title companies always provide you information like a preliminary report. You can see a lot of other judgments that are in there just by asking questions to the seller. Sometimes they won't be telling you the truth. They just tell you a couple things because they're screaming for help. They're screaming for information. So, but that's how you find that out, okay? You could also find them through third-party vendors. There's companies out there that you can pay subscription for it. Like Redex is one of them, Omta, foreclosures.com. So basically you could go out there and pay these vendors, and they'll send you information about them. They usually send you like name, address, sometimes phone numbers, sometimes emails, so you can put them on campaigns. They'll send you the day that they went on default or when it was filed. They'll send you if it's a possible notice of sale. They'll send you how much they purchased the home for, when. So all that information is good for you to have. So when they call and you pull it up in your system, then you kind of know what you're talking about with the clients. Okay. You could also find them by calling, door knocking, all these different numbers that you get from third-party vendors. You can just get on the phone from 9 to 12, which is usually our calling time for us, for Alma and I. So, you just get on the phone, you just call, and then you just start, dialing numbers and find out if somebody needs your help, because we're there to help people. And on short sales, you have to present yourself as you wanting to help them, not just wanting to get a paycheck. Of course, it's rewarding to get a paycheck, but you're actually out there looking to help people. Okay, so just keep that in your mindset. That's how I put it in my mind. When I make phone calls, I go out there. When I'm door knocking, I'm just out there trying to find people that I can help, and at the same time, I can make a living out of it. You could also post it on social media. You could go into your command and into your designs. Create some type of marketing campaign, some flyers, a greeting card. I know that through designs you could actually upload your own greeting card in case you don't want to build it through the system. I just talked about lead generation. You could do Facebook ads. There's always somebody out there that's looking for that help, and they're screaming inside, I need help, I don't know what to do. And again, they don't want to accept. They don't want to tell to people that they're in trouble. It's like I said, it's one of the things that you keep in here for most of the time until you just cannot handle it. You can also ask referrals from your sphere of influence. You can call your past clients. How are they doing? How are their family doing? You can call people that you have on Facebook. You can send them private messages. Hey, I'm looking to help 20 families within the next 6 months. I know, we're going through this whole COVID situation, and, a lot of people are needing help. They're probably behind on their mortgage. They don't know what to do when their loan is going to reset. What can I do to help? Can you connect me with somebody, please? And you'll be surprised how many people have actually reached out to us. We kind of started doing that about a month ago. We've been calling people that we know that went through a forbearance program, and they reached out to us a couple months ago asking us about it. We gave them some information, lightly, not a lot. At the end of the day, the banks make their own rules with that. We kind of guided them where to go and where to find the information from their bank. And now they're calling, like, what am I going to do when this resets? I don't have the money to pay. And you'll be surprised, some of these houses have equity. They're probably not going to be short sales. But, there's a way to also get listings. Another way to find them is going through courthouses. Okay, it's probably the longest to do, but it's kind of fun. I kind of did it when I started in the business. I wanted to know anything that I could learn about anything, right? So I shadowed this agent, went to the courthouses with him. He showed me how to pull out records. I didn't have any money at the time to invest in my business. So it was a very good way for me to get in for free. Back then, I didn't have relationships with title companies or or other agents. I was new in the business. I didn't know anybody, just my broker and my agents in the office. And usually, they were not Keller Williams agents. So if you work outside of Keller Williams, you'll know that a lot of agents just keep to themselves. So they don't tell you the secrets. They don't share. They don't mastermind. So you kind of have to find it out on your own. So that's kind of how it was. But you could go to courthouses and find that information. Now, remember, regardless of what you do, how you try to get these leads for you to prospect, just stay consistent. If you want to go with the option one with title companies, just bother them once a week. Hey, do you have any new notice of defaults? Do you have any notice of sales? Third-party vendors, you don't have to worry. You pay. Basically, they'll basically just feed you information every day, every 2 days, every 3 days, however you set it up in that system. Call calls, door knocking, something we do every day, right? We lead generate. So that's part of your lead generation. If one day you're doing one thing, another day you'll do call calling for short sales. You just make it part of your plan. Just remember, this is a monster of a field, okay? If you really want to do the short sales, this is the time to get yourself wet into the information, because they're going to come. They're going to come based on research that has been done, reports that come through, everything that's happening outside in the world. People that got the forbearance and they're not going to be able to pay them. People that modified around 2010, 2011, 2012. Well, guess what? A lot of these modifications were done for 10 years. So in 10 years, they're resetting. So what do you think is happening right now? A lot of these mods are going to reset this year. Some of them started resetting already around September of last year. Some of them resetting this year, and more will be resetting the following year. So a lot of these people bought in 2007, 2006, 2008, when the market crashed. Well, they were already negative on their equity. 10 years later, some of them might still be negative, some of them might still be okay, but because they're resetting, we're going to be able to get that information publicly so that we can also call them, okay? So there's a lot of ways for you to get that this type of list so you can lead generate. Let's see, let's go to the next screen. Now, how do you know if a short sale is a good option for a seller? So you came across someone, you seem that you did your research, you know that this is probably going to be a good possible one. Well, always know the story, okay? Always ask them, always find out, know the story for what happened, qualify your seller. It's very important to qualify them, just like any listing. Be honest, always research your value. So that way you know what you're getting yourself into. Inspect the property. I know right now through COVID, we have to follow some guidelines. We probably might not be able to go to the property's home, but you'll be surprised. A lot of these people that are screaming for help, they probably do want you to go to their property and sit down with them. They don't want to talk to you over the phone or through Zoom. So, and know your market. Know your market. Like I said, as you're getting wet with short sales, always do your research, see how many short sales are out there, what are the values in the area, what's happening out there, all the stuff that I just shared with you, who's resetting, why, what happened in the past, all that good stuff. Now, let's say you're talking to a seller, and you have to ask the difficult questions. You're qualifying them, right? So these are a few examples of a couple questions that you can ask. Like, Mr. Seller, what happened? Like, tell me, if you don't mind me asking, what got you here? Let them speak. Just listen to what they're telling you. Remember, you're there to help. So we have to listen to what happened to them. Acknowledge the situation. How long has it been? Has the bank tried to work with you? If they have, what did they say? What happened? you know. Now let me ask you, Mr. Seller, are you able to catch up with your current payments? Well, why not? You know? So, you know, a lot of different questions that you have to ask them. And believe me, when you're there and you're taking control of the situation where, you know, you're basically trying to get in their minds and to let them know that you're there to assist, they open up to you. I mean, they open up to you sometimes so much that, you know, it's funny. A lot of times, you know, sometimes the husband and the wife are fighting in front of you, and, you know, and they're blaming each other for what happened. And you just have to sit there and listen, you know. A tip that I'm going to give you, very important for you to know, okay? A short sale should never be the first choice because it carries with serious negative credit and possibly tax consequences, okay? So when you're there talking to a client, when you actually found somebody, just make sure they know. Like in my case, I usually tell the person, look, you know, let's figure out the situation. You have options, you know, let's see if maybe I can help you with some of the options, you know, and, you know, I'm going to give you a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. Plan C mean going in through a short sale process, but that's going to be our last option. So let's not worry about that one. Let's worry about option A. Okay. So in option A, you know, I kind of go over with them what they could do, either talk to the bank, either trying to find a different job, whatever the situation is, you know. So I'll give them pros and cons, and then I'll go with option B. You know, if they offer you a modification, well, what would you do? So that's option B. And then option C, the short sale. So when they're actually there talking to you about the short sale, we have to let them know that, you know, we have to encourage them to have legal counsel, to talk to some type of legal companies out there, to make sure they know about their credit and to know what are the tax consequences regarding the short sale. A couple of years ago, we had protections here in California. You know, we had the Debt Relief Act, the SB 458, you know, different type of laws that were protecting us as the consumer in case we wanted to do a short sale. But at this moment, there's probably not much out there because the market is doing so good. Everybody's doing great. Interests are historically low, you know, regarding with COVID or not, you know, people are selling at top price. So we're doing okay. But like they say, you know, something that goes up has to come down. So eventually we're going to start seeing a lot of these things happening in the next few months. You guys have any questions for now?
It's a lot of good info.
Okay, so let's keep going. And if I'm going too fast, please stop me. Sometimes I just go, okay? Okay, so what happens? You take the short sale listing, right? So now you went through all these different steps with the seller. And Edson, I still want you to help me. I think you're the right person for the job. Okay, well, let's do it. All right. So you take the short sale listing. After you do the contract, after you fill out all the required addendums regarding the short sales, if our office has any type of disclosures that we also have to fill out, like the harmless and hold harmless disclosure, any KW disclosures, well, that's the time to fill them all out and explain them to the seller. And then you contact the lender, you know, contact the lender just to make sure that they're willing to entertain the short sale. You know, sometimes you'll find out that the seller didn't tell you that they tried the modification, even though you asked them and they said no. So when you contact the lender, they'll probably tell you, hey, you know, yeah, we're actually going through a modification process with the seller. It has happened to us a lot of times. So then we come back to the seller and we go, okay, Mr. Seller, I've been told by your bank you're trying a loan modification, but now you want to try a short sale. So which way do you want to go? You know, that's why it's important for you to contact the lender first thing. Ask for a short sale package from them. different banks have different short sale packages. Some of them may require you a lot of financials. Some of them may not. Some of them may even not have one, you know. But it's always good to get the short sale packet from them, because that's going to make you sound like you're the professional. You know what you're talking about. And most times, even if they don't ask you for the information, you know, it's always best to provide a full package from day one, because that's what helps the short sales go a little bit faster. Okay. List with your seller protections. Always protect the client. Always protect them. You know, we as agents have a due diligence to protect the client. Okay. In short sales, we could be exposed to a lot of different liabilities. The sellers are not 100% in their mindset. You know, if they get upset at you for something that they probably feel you're doing wrong, guess what? They're going to call the broker, or they're going to call the team leader, and then they're going to complain. And sometimes the things that they said probably may not be true, you know, but then they're complaining. We've had a situation a year ago, I think, or a year and a half. We're doing a short sale, and sure enough, you know, the seller called the office. They said they were going to sue. Luckily for us, we had all our package put together finally. You know, seller was just upset. Later they called, they apologized. They said they didn't mean it. But guess what? Things like that happen. Okay, so you got to make sure that you're always protecting the seller. You're always explaining that everything's going to be subject to the lender approving. And then also when you put it on your MLS, you also have to make sure you're protected there with the other agents. Okay. Pricing. Well, don't underprice the property too much. I know sometimes short sales, some agents out there price at $100,000 less from the market. You know, they're looking to either buy it themselves or for those investors that they're working with, and they're trying to manipulate the system. Well, you're not. Yeah, you're here in this business to make some money. Yes, you know, totally understand. But at the end of the day, you know, we're here. We became realtors to help the consumer, to help them fulfill their goal, right? And that's the way I see it. So usually on my side, I try to price the short sales either our market value or maybe 5% less. You know, sometimes 10, depends on when I have a notice of sale. But other than that, I mean, my goal is to make sure that the seller gets what they want. Okay. So just make sure that when you're pricing it right. I don't know if you guys know how to do BPOs or if you guys know the meaning of a BPO, but a BPO is a broker price opinion. If you're going to get yourself into short sales, and if you don't know how to do broker price opinions, I highly recommend you learn how to do them. Usually these are kind of like similar to what an appraiser will do, but more into the agent level, where you know, also similar to a CMA, but you kind of go a little bit more deeper. You know, that helps you kind of come out with a good price in the house. So I highly suggest you learn how to do those as well. Commissions, you know, always use MLS approved language. If the MLS is telling us this is the way you're going to put it in there, like subject to, you know, short sale approval of the loan, the lender, commissions are also subject to lender approval. Make sure you put that in there. And then after that, market it properly. You know, market it properly normally the way you do it. You know, just the way you market your houses. Even, I mean, honestly, just put professional pictures in there as well. Because remember, you're presenting yourself as a professional. You're taking the lead in situations like this. You're the leader within this listing, right? So everybody's going to be looking up to you what you do. I've seen a lot of short sales where the pictures are terrible, they're horrible. You know, I mean, these agents are paying only 2% out of the 6. They keep in 4. And I don't understand why they wouldn't put, you know, professional pictures, spend $150, $200 on a really nice, good looking pictures, you know. It's just the way you present yourself, right? So I suggest completely short sales, treat them the same way. There's other people out there looking at you. There are other people just looking at your listings, and you never know that person that's looking at you may be your next seller. Okay, so let's say you got an offer, got a couple offers, you preview the home, you got the home accepted through an offer. Seller is okay with it, everybody's okay. Well, now you're going to present it. Now you're going to present it to the lender. Okay, you're going to present it with a complete short sale package. Remember, I just told you a few minutes ago, it could be a package that you received from the lender, or a package that you created yourself. I mean, most of the short sale packages are similar. You have an application, you have a hardship letter that you have to submit. The seller explains what happened in the situation. Let them write it, because they're talking from the heart. And then if you need to help them out, fix it a little bit, then you do. Get also from the escrow company, get a hot one. That way it'll show all the cost that the lender will accrue on this short sale. They'll ask you for a 4506 tax form. Those forms, if the short sale lender doesn't provide it to you, you can always download it through the IRS website. There's also websites out there that, even through KW, that we could get it, but always try to get the updated one. So I usually go to the IRS website. Some short sale lenders will give you what they have in their package, and believe it or not, some of their packages are outdated. So just take that little extra step and go through the IRS and get the updated form. Get a narrative explaining why the short sale is necessary and desirable. If there's any other liens on the property, provide a preliminary report. And also, as you're working on this whole thing, and since you already kind of did your homework and you saw that there was other judgments or liens, just show them proof that you're already working on them. You're negotiating them as well. But everybody, of course, is probably going to wait on the first lien holder and see what they're willing to pay everybody else. And then show them your marketing history and efforts. What I've learned when doing short sales is the more complete package you send in the beginning, the fastest that you're going to get responses. Okay. Short sales are they're not a transaction that you're going to come in, get the listing, 30 days later you get paid. They don't work like that. Sometimes you might get lucky and the lender might, approve it fast. Just happened to us a couple of months ago, but it doesn't usually happen like that. It has to do with us as listing agents, how fast this short sale could go. Okay. If you did your homework from day one, if you submit your packages from day one, if you do all your marketing properly, if you price it properly, if you did your CMA, your BPO, and you submitted this whole package completely from the beginning to the lender, it makes it easier for them to come do their appraisal or their broker price opinion outside and get you either a counter offer or an approval. Okay, so be thoughtful and patient, because lenders usually take about 30 to 45 days to respond. Okay, so let's just say after everything is reviewed by the lender, they may choose different things. They may choose to accept that offer, they may choose to deny it, or they may choose to counter offer. So if they accept the offer, then it makes it a win-win for everybody, because now you start escrow. Now the buyer comes into place, the buyer's agent come into place, contingency periods take effect, and it just becomes a normal transaction. But if the lender denies it, they'll give us a reason why they denied it. Most times they counter offer it. And when they denied it is because we probably didn't provide a full package. We probably didn't provide the information from the seller correctly. But most times they'll counter offer you. The lender's going to try to get as much money as they can on this home. So, just got to make sure you have backup in case you know what you guys submitted was the right price. You're able to prove to the lender, hey, the buyer's willing to pay this because of this and that and that. Okay. Very important that you keep open communication with the buyer's agent. when you're going through these offers, it's always good to feel comfortable with the agent as well, because this is going to be a marriage for 2 months or 3 months, you know, from the time you start the short sale, all the way to the offer being accepted, all the way to sending it to the lender, all the way to that when it gets accepted and you open escrow, the lender that's representing the buyer. There's got to be a good communication, or else these things go south. And when they go south, it's just like another transaction, you know? You go through all different problems. Everybody has to probably share some of that commission to make things work, and it just becomes a nightmare. Now, big tip for you guys: always keep track of the sale date. A lot of short sales, a lot of notice of defaults, that's kind of how they generate this short sale process. A lot of these houses may have a notice of sale. Sometimes the loss mitigation department doesn't work with the other departments or with the attorneys, the foreclosure attorneys. So got to make sure that you keep tabs of if there's any sale date. You know, you got to make sure you let the seller know, hey, Mr. Seller, if you get something posted in your window while we're going through this process, please let me know. You know, you don't know how many times I've come across sellers that don't tell me until, 3, 4, 5 days before the sale date. Oh yeah, I got something in the window, but I took it off. I thought you knew about it. Well, sometimes we don't. If we don't do our homework, we don't. So just keep track of that, okay? Because it's very important. We've seen a lot of short sales go to foreclosure while the process was going, and there was nothing we could do, and it was our own fault because we didn't do our homework. We didn't do our due diligence correctly. Okay, so this was through the listing side, right? Probably seems too easy the way I'm saying it. But what about if you're a buyer's agent? What about this client of yours wants to look at this home and they want to submit an offer? So what do? Well, on your side as a buyer's agent, it might be a little bit less complicated because you just go show the home as usual. You follow the directions in the MLS. You do your due diligence. Very important to ask the realtor, hey, how many liens are on this property? Who are the lien holders? If you're familiar with short sales, you're gonna realize, like, okay, if it's Wells Fargo, okay, I kind of know how their process works. If it's Chase, okay, I kind of know how they work. If it's ABC Mortgage, well, I never heard of them. So Mr. Listing Agent, can you tell me more a little bit about this mortgage lender? Is it going to be easier for you to work with them? Sometimes the agents don't want to tell you information, but hey, you're doing the due diligence for your client. You're going to have your buyer stuck in that property for 30 to 45 days, waiting for an answer. So I always tell the realtors when they don't want to give me information as a buyer's agent, I tell them, hey, I need to know this info, because if you don't, why am I going to, what guarantees my client is going to get that property and I'm going to take him off the market for 30, 45 days? I don't think it's fair, right? And that's when you find that chemistry. If that agent wants to work with you, they'll share everything that you're asking them. They'll actually like you because you're asking them information, you're asking them questions where other realtors are not. They're just showing the home, sending offers. They don't even dare to even make a phone call or anything. So a lot of times the listing agents don't even want to talk to those agents. You'll be surprised, when you're trying to build a relationship with them, where it can take you. Also, advise your buyers. This is a lengthy wait. It's a process. It's not a 30-day transaction. So they have to know that. So if you have buyers out there that are looking into these homes because they want to get a discount, but they have timelines to move into their property, this probably might not be a good option for them. And it will save you the headache in the next 30, 45 days. Let your buyers know that the price that we offer may not be the final. We most times get a counter offer. And for those of you that have done short sales, you probably will agree with me that most times we get a counter offer. And A lot of times we get it in a way that we're like, seriously, that's what you guys want? Oh my, okay, well, let's get back to it. Let's go back and renegotiate here. Now, if your offer gets accepted, prepare your bio to wait for final approval, okay? Once approved, take it all the way and close it as fast as you can, because remember, you as a buyer's agent also keep mindful with the sell dates. If there's any notice of sell out there, you know, a lot of times the other agent is not going to tell you. So just do your due diligence, find out. There's websites out there that you could do it. Your title company, you know, you call them, they give you information. You know, luckily for us, we have good relationships with them, and, you know, they're always helpful, very, very helpful. So, you know, we have a good team here. So let me give you a sample of a short sale approval, okay? I don't know if this is going to be too small for you guys. I was trying to put it as big as I could, but if this is a short sale that we just closed back in November, and this short sale, it came super fast. I mean, we wrote the offer, 2 weeks later, the short sale was here, the approval. It went like this. And you know why? Because we actually worked with the Keller Williams agent. This Keller Williams was from Riverside, and she knew what she was doing. She knew from A to Z. And on our side, we provided everything that she needed. So we got the approval fast. And this is kind of an example of how it looks like. Okay, this basically is just the cover letter. The second page kind of shows the name of the client, the address, the agreement to release the interest on the home. In this case, they gave us the approval November 4th, I believe, November 2nd. And the lender wanted us to close on November 27th. Because it was a cash offer deal, it made it a little bit more simplistic to close it. But you got to remember also, when you're doing your short sales and you're talking to the escrow company that you select to work with you, is that when they put the dates on the HUD one, if you feel the lender is going to take 30 to 45 days, always make sure they add an extra 30 or 45 days of the closing. Because in this case, this agent was rushing and pushing everybody to close. We also had a sell date. So we all understood that as soon as we got the approval, we had to move fast. But it doesn't happen like that most times. And if you are a listing agent and you don't tell the escrow company to put a certain closing date, you may shoot yourself on the foot, because then you have to go back to the lender once you get the approval and renegotiate the closing, which is going to cost more money. It's going to change a lot of the numbers there. And then people are not going to be happy. Okay. So if you notice, I'm pointing my little arrow. Here's kind of where it gives you the more general information about this short sale. The seller approved after countering us back. They approved the counter offer of 130. They pointed the closing cost, and they also pointed the maximum commission that was going to be paid. In this case, you know, lucky for everyone, it was a 6% commission, and the maximum amount of allowed taxes. And then it just kind of gives them more description of what is expected on the short sale, and if the seller needed to pay any money out of pocket, it will show it in there. In this case, it was a clean slate, very easy transaction to work with. But that kind of gives you an example of how a short sale will look like. You know, the lender will provide a short sale affidavit. They want to make sure that, you know, there's no relationship between the buyer and the seller, that they're strangers to each other. So they also provide other rules and guidelines that have to be followed to make sure that this happens. And then at the end of this letter, it just needed everybody's signatures. So having said that, I don't know if I went too fast on you guys, but you guys have any questions?